everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melisa Rodriguez and I'm a first year medical student, and for you guys that don't know me, I make videos about medical school application, about my medical school experience, and today's video is about technology, right? These devices that we usually use, and especially the iPad Pro and the Macbook Pro, which are very popular devices now. Apple has come out with some really good technology for students, and this video will just give you my opinion and my student perspective on how I use this in medical school and how you can also use it, and what I do with both of them, and how what things I prefer from the MacBook or the iPad Pro. Okay, so if you find this interesting, just keep watching. So starting from the iPad, how I use the iPad, the one that I got is the iPad Pro, and it doesn't come, you have to actually buy it, but it's the Apple Pencil, which is the one that matches with this. It charges on the iPad, so you don't need to charge it separately like the previous models. And how I use this, it is very useful when I'm watching my lectures. So what I will do is that I have a bigger screen. It can be either a desktop or even your MacBook or your other computer, and I will have it in front of me with the lectures. And what I'll do is I'll just put all the lecture slides, I download them into the iPad, and I use this app that is called Notability. Notability is amazing because it's just very user-friendly, and it allows you to use the Apple Pencil to write down diagrams, make your own diagrams that you can basically understand by yourself right on top of those lecture slides. And what I do is, as the professor goes through the lectures, sometimes they say extra stuff or interesting stuff that helps me understand the concepts better, and that's what I will use it for. In medical school, I will make a video about how I study in medical school later, and the difference between studying in medical school and college or pre-med. But basically in medical school we have so many lectures and so many things to review that I don't think it's doable for me to handwrite everything on a normal notebook, or basically rewrite everything that's on the slides. So basically what the iPad allows me to do is highlight, which I'm basically reading it and going through it, and also write down extra stuff on top of the slides, which doesn't take me as much time as if I would have written everything on a normal paper. So that's the main use that I give my iPad, and it makes it feel like you're handwriting on a paper, but you don't waste paper, which is very important for me, because I often in college I will use a notebook and then I will leave it I don't know where, and then I will just lose all of those very important notes. Those are like my babies. So now I have everything in Notability. I even have stuff from my last semester of college that I could use if I have any doubts or if I need it. Another reason that I use Notability is for when I'm doing research. So sometimes in my school they will assign us readings that we have to do, and those are research articles. They're very dense and a little bit hard to understand. So what I'll do, download the PDFs into Notability, and I will use the highlighter tool to highlight the most important parts. So when I'm looking at that article for the second time, I will just go, like, my attention will go towards the most important parts instead of having an overwhelming article to read. And a last thing, there's a program that our school provided us that is called Visible Body, where you can see all the human body with all the muscle, nerves, arteries, everything. And it's really useful in the iPad because it allows you to basically move it and see it in a 3D fashion. So that's really useful. Lastly, this is not like the student part of it, but I use my iPad for everything that is watching stuff. It's really user-friendly in the terms that you can take it anywhere, and it's very light, and you can take it, for example, to a clinical stage if you are interacting with someone in a clinical environment, and you can use it as your mode of finding information. It's really light and you can take it everywhere. So it has a lot of portability. I use it for anything that is like watching YouTube, Netflix, things like that, because if you use your MacBook for that, it can either get overheated, and sometimes I want to separate work from recreational time, so I will use my iPad when I'm like not doing work, and my computer will mean work. I have to be productive when I'm using my computer, so that's how I take it. And also the computer may give you a lot of radiation, whereas the iPad doesn't, because it's just a magic keyboard, and you can even just use it the normal way. So it's less radiation that you're getting into your body if you're gonna just put it on top of you while you're watching stuff. Next, we're gonna talk about the MacBook Pro. Why I love my MacBook Pro. If I had to choose between the MacBook Pro and the iPad Pro, I will of course choose the MacBook, because it is the most the most bearable tool. You can do lots of things with the MacBook, and the most important things that you need is basically the software that is compatible with your exam taking tools. So there, especially now that we're doing online school, we're taking exams through our MacBooks, and they're watching us through the camera, so you need a computer that the software is compatible with a program that is called Exemplify in my case, but there's things like Canvas and things like that you need a computer to take your exam. So that's really important. And also the Zoom and WebEx meetings are way more efficient in the MacBook than the iPad. You can do like presentations, like screen share, and things like that are more user-friendly with a MacBook. Also, the MacBook has really great keyboard built on it, which allows me to do typing really fast, and for things like research, taking quick notes for anything, or like preparing information when I am just looking up stuff, researching online. That's really important for me to have a device that could let me be more productive, like reduce the time that I take on doing simple tasks, right? For example, when I'm attending informational sessions that my school provides, and I want to be engaged, I will just split the screen, which is a really great tool in the MacBook Pro. The iPad has it too, but it's better in the MacBook Pro to split the screen and, for example, have one note in one part, and then the WebEx or the Zoom link live video going in the other half is really useful, because then you get engaged and you take some notes for later use. So and quick keyboard allows me to do that easier. Also, another thing that I use my MacBook Pro is for editing. As you guys know, I recently started in YouTube like in July, I think, or June, I don't remember, but I recently started right when I bought the MacBook Pro, and it is really easy to edit through using iMovie in the MacBook Pro. So that's another reason why I got it. It's easy to do video editing, and it's easy to do picture editing. So if you are interested in things like Photoshop or making thumbnails, editing pictures for Instagram, things like that, the MacBook Pro is really good for that. Lastly, the MacBook Pro is much better for research than the iPad, because you can have multiple pages open, multiple browsers open. Everything is compatible with a MacBook Pro. Programs such as Mendeley Desktop, which is what I use for just like saving the references, that's only compatible with computers, so you will need a MacBook Pro or another type of computer, and that makes my life so much easier when it comes to saving the references for research. And there's a lot of articles involved, and this is really important in medicine because you're always trying to, you know, discover new things. Like I mentioned in my other video about how to get research, it's essential for you to educate yourself and be proactive, knowing where to look for reputable sources that will help you understand information better. So yeah, the split screen and the research capabilities, the keyboard, all of these are my preferences when it comes to the MacBook Pro. I just wanted to end by saying that both resources or both devices are really useful in medical school. Both of them serve their own purpose, and if you could get both of them, or like maybe like the MacBook Pro and then an earlier version of an iPad, something like that, will work better, because having both together, each of them has its purpose and makes your life even much easier. Like having two screens is life-changing, because while you're, for example, discussing something with one of your faculties in the computer, then you can look up stuff in the iPad and be able to reference those things that way. So I think having both will be like optimal for medical school conditions. But if I had to choose between these two devices, of course I will choose the MacBook Pro. It's more, you can do more things with it. So yeah guys, this is the end of the video. If you find this interesting, please make sure to leave me a comment down below, give me a like, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. I'll see you in the next video.